InnerQuest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
The waist up.
Hello, welcome to InnerQuest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our guest is Jane Carroo. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you for having me, Jay. It's nice to be here.
It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to learning about your expertise. Jane is an organizing expert and owner of the Clutter Coach Company. She combines her experience as an educator, life coach, certified professional organizer, and move manager to help clients gain clarity and control over their space, paper, and time. So tell our audience how you got started to work as a clutter coach.
Yeah, well, as a clutter coach, I try to help people get clear about what they want for their best life, and then figure out what the clutter is that's in their way, and try and find ways to clear it, help create systems. And I do that helping people in their homes and in their offices, and even through a move.
Well, it sounds to me like a clutter coach will initially save us time and money.
Absolutely.
There might be an expense involved in hiring someone as you, or purchasing your book, or taking a class that you teach. But eventually, you're gonna save time. You're gonna save money.
Absolutely.
And so, why did you start working as a clutter?
Oh gosh, I went on a major transformation myself, where I went through like a midlife crisis, and I moved. And when I realized how many things I had collected over the years, and what an overwhelming task it was to go through the move, I practically had a meltdown the day of the move. It was just a really difficult time. Right after that, we hit 9/11, and everything started to shift, and I left the corporate world. So I switched jobs. I went on a personal growth journey, and through that, I found life coaching and became a life coach.
What were you doing before you became a clutter coach?
Oh, well, I was working in the corporate world. I was a consultant. I was in a business environment. So, you know, I was fulfilled, but I was never totally making a real contribution, such as what I'm doing now. Because in my journey, being able to be a coach and connect with people on a real level, and I kept finding that organizing was kind of a trip up for people. And so I started to learn about organizing, and I started to work the organizing process for myself, and I found such freedom in doing that, that I wanted to be able to do that for others.
All right. Now, I visited your website, and I got to say it's one of the cleanest websites I've ever seen, and I think, you know,
Thank you.
You practice on your website what you preach in your classes and your books. Now, I noticed, though, on your website you offer various services from home organizing, office organizing, business organizing, senior organizing, and moving organizing. Can you explain these different organizing that services you offer?
Sure. Okay, so
let's start with home organizing.
Yeah, so home organizing, you know, that's where you can make a real impact in a home environment. And the logo at the top indicates the ripple effect that we can make for people. So in a home, we're helping a family, possibly, okay, at least an individual and possibly a family. And we're helping with any room in their home, you know, whether it's space related, it's time management, or it's paper management. And many people have a lot of issues with paper.
Now, so do people just hire you to come in and clean up their home office, or you go through, or like a kitchen or specific room, or do they do the whole house?
Many times we do the entire home, because what happens is there's pockets of clutter that build up in different places. And usually then there's, the final straw that breaks the camel's back, and people are just like, I can't take it anymore, I can't find anything, I really want to get organized, and they want help. And so it may start, there may be one area that it starts in, but it moves on to other areas as well.
Do you ever go into like people's garages?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You ever find any money, long lost money,
tons.
money and jewelry?
We have found unbelievable treasures. We have found, one time we actually found a medal from, I think it was the King of Norway once. So we find artifacts, we find money frequently, and we find many times there's gift cards and things that people have just totally forgotten about, and we collect it. And
well, if you're inviting a perfect stranger into the house, a professional no less, and then you're saying, well, open up my drawers, it's like the most intimate thing you're showing to you. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, a professional organizer really is, it is an intimate process. So you want to find someone that you feel really comfortable with, because it is personal, okay, whether it's your paperwork or your personal drawers with your items in there. But a professional organizer is a professional. If they've had training and they're certified, or even if they're not certified, but they've had a lot of experience and they're trained, they don't have judgment. For us, it doesn't matter what we're sorting and working the process on. It doesn't matter if it's paper. We're not checking what the figures are that are on that paper. For us, we're sorting by category, just as if we would do toys or clothes. It's just part of the process.
Now, before the show, you mentioned that the certification or the certified professional organizer, it's kind of hard to get. You want to say a little bit about your credentials?
Yeah, well, I was in the inaugural class of certified professional organizers, and there's probably, I did not check recently, but there's about 400 of us in the world. So it's not like there's a ton, and it takes a lot of studying, and you have to have a lot of hours of experience documented to be able to apply for the exam. So you have to meet a lot of criteria. So it's not all that easy to become a certified professional organizer, just as it is in other professions.
When did you realize you had a gift for organizing? What was it?
Gosh.
Was it young, or as you said, that move really shook you up?
I think the move really shook me up, but I've always valued organization. And I think the busier I became, because I was a working mom and trying to do many things as many people do, and the more you try to accomplish, the more organized you need to be, because you're trying to do great things, right? And so I think organizing is a really key component for people,
Yeah, especially for a mother or a businessman, a businesswoman.
Right.
Every minute counts, and if you spend 15 minutes looking for something, or you can't find something you need, there's a lot of wasted time.
Right.
So talk a little about what you do for office organizing.
Yeah, so for offices, depending on who is working in that space, we're going to try to determine, just like the home, who's working in that space, who needs access, how can we make it simple so that there's solutions that multiple people can follow. Like in the case of a mom, if we can make systems that work across the board for the family, she doesn't have to do everything herself, okay? And the same thing in an office. If we can make it simple and easy. And many times people, call and they say they're organized at work, but they can't get it together at home, or vice versa, okay? So sometimes it's a finding out the systems that work for that person.
What kind of companies, types of companies have you worked for?
Oh, I have worked for small, entrepreneurs, as well as corporate people that are working from home or on the go mobily. I have worked for corporations where they've called me in. I've even delivered organizing workshops across the country.
And have you done any governments? Any
I have.
Government offices?
I have done government, as a matter of fact.
And how did that go?
It was great. I mean, they have needs just like the rest of the offices,
And probably more so because government budgets, like our personal budgets, are getting stressed.
Right.
And so they got to be more efficient.
Right.
Now, is there any difference between organizing a home and organizing an office? Are the same skills apply?
Yeah, for me, the same skills apply. I mean, I have to, be able to ask the right questions, find out the needs of that client, and determine a game plan.
Yeah, and on your website, you've got a list of, I think, 11 tips, is it?
Yes, I do have.
Yeah, and you're gonna read those later. Okay, and let's see, business organizing. Is business organizing different than office organizing?
For the most part, it's office, but I mean, I've done restaurants, I've done retail, so business organizing can be, more of a corporate or different
And
than
so the
office.
restaurants you organized, was it in the kitchen? Was it in the office of the restaurant?
Everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was, where
Even where the people eat?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay.
Just in the kitchen and the supply areas and things like that.
Yeah, I would think. Have you ever done any like ships?
No,
cruise
I've
ships
not
or
done
something?
a cruise ship, but that would be fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Smaller spaces, you have to be even more organized.
Well, my friend was a chief purser on a cruise ship, so he had he had 3,000 meals 3 times a day, and he had to he had to be real organized.
That would be a challenge.
And this sounds very interesting. You also do senior organizing.
Yes, frequently. By the time you become a senior, you've collected a lifetime of things, and you've lived in your home for 30, 40, maybe even 50 years, and you may have had children and they've grown and gone, but they've left things behind, and other relatives have maybe passed items on to you, and you may want a little bit of a simpler life. So or you may need to want to move to have a better quality of life.
And seniors might be, have difficulty doing the actual physical work.
Oh, definitely.
So do you help with the physical work?
Absolutely. We get in there. We are their hands. We're helping guide and support them in whatever is needed, and we're hauling things, yeah.
And typically, how long does a job last? Let's say if you're helping like a senior or someone at the office, do you first do like a survey and then, come up with a plan? Or do you just go in there and just start throwing things or organizing?
Well, it's a little bit of all of that, okay? So initially, people go to my website and they'll take my simple assessment, which is 4 questions. It's really just kind of a snapshot.
What are the 4 questions?
Oh gosh, I don't even know what they are exactly. It's something about, what
Why
is your
this not
project?
different than all other?
What is what type of project are you considering? What is your time frame? How motivated are you? And I don't know what the
And why is motivation important?
Motivation is the key to everything, especially with regard to organizing, because it's that motivation to change something that is underlying it, and that's what we work with in order to get that client through that process or over the hump, so to speak.
Have you ever done any like doctors or dentist office, medical offices?
Yes, I actually have.
And talk about that experience.
Well, one doctor's office we actually worked with in a hospital, and I won't say what hospital, but this particular doctor was diagnosing what everyone, you know, he was the pathologist diagnosing whatever anybody had. So he had a huge job in that hospital environment, and his office was extremely difficult, and he had very little time in order to get things handled, you know. So we came in and we, you know, worked with him to streamline everything. It was a totally different world, and I know he was much more functional afterwards, and he felt so much more in control.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed that you said you want to help your clients gain clarity and control over their space, paper, and time.
Absolutely. That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
It's about being able to live your life and have the things that you choose to have support you in living your best life.
Now, you also do moving organizing.
Yeah, we do a lot of moves.
And can you explain, you know,
Sure.
how or what you do? Do you, as soon as people say you're moving, you go to their house and help them get rid of things so they don't just take things with them that they don't need?
Exactly. So I talked to a woman today who is thinking about selling the house, wants to go through everything, figure out what can she live without.
Is she downsizing?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're totally clear as to what they want to do, but I believe they're going to downsize. I mean, it's in the early stages right now, but they know there's like at least one round they'd like to eliminate right now, and then another pass through, if you will, once they know where they're going to go and how much space they'll have.
Is that common to take two pass-throughs?
Sometimes, you know, you know, it's a layering effect, but many times, if you really want to do it in an organized fashion, you're going to do it one time. You're going to go through everything. You're going to know exactly what is going to be taken to the new space, what you need, and you're going to eliminate the rest.
And so what do you do with this stuff, the clutter that you get rid of? Do you donate it to charity? Do you have a garage sale? Do you pass it down to the children?
It depends on the client.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're asking me what would I like to see done, you know, is different than what you would say. You know, I would ask the client, you know, what are your goals for this? Okay, do you want the children? Do you have children? Do you have relatives that you would like? Do you have friends that you'd like to pass certain things on to? Okay, if not, is the money important? Do you want to have a sale, recoup some of the money? Do you have a favorite charity? You know, these are all important factors that go into the decision making on the process, you know, on the project and how we're going to manage it.
So would you get that information kind of up front?
Yeah.
And so while you're sorting things, you know, here's the pile for the kids, here's the pile for the charity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you brought some pictures, and I'm so glad you did, and your website has pictures.
Yes.
A lot more pictures.
Right.
But so why don't you tell our audience what's going on in that picture? I assume the picture to my far left is the before shot, and the
Yes.
Okay.
Good guess, Jay. Okay, so this is a kitchen, and you can see there's quite a bit of clutter built up on the counters.
How do there's no even space to do anything.
Yeah, you know, it's very limiting to be able to cook or prepare meals when you have the counters all covered with things, you know? So, and finding things. I mean, I can't tell you how many people run out and buy things constantly because they are unable to find things.
Now, was that a single person's residence? Was it a couple of children?
This was a woman
a family?
that lived with a son. So there were two people in this household. And you can see there's a lot of clutter in the front, in the forefront of the photo as well.
And then a cat travel box?
I think that
Or
was
dog?
for the dog. Yeah, that was kind of the only place they could find to that made sense.
God, I
for
wonder what
them.
the rest of the house looked like.
Yeah, well, they had some challenges. So, you know, what we did is we were able to go through what was inside the cabinets, and we were able to clear out things that were
And
maybe
how much
out
of that
date.
stuff did you throw away?
You know, in this case, there were things thrown away and there were things donated, but we made space for a lot of things to be put away.
I remember helping my mom, and she had like cans that were like 9-10 years outdated.
Yeah, people don't realize, you know, how many things get expired if they get pushed in the back of the cabinet.
Well, organizing is almost like a constant job. How often do you recommend people do some organization work? Every day, or?
Well, I can only go by what I do personally. I like to try to touch every single thing in my home once a year. So that means, you know, I'm working when I have time on different areas so that I can actually know what I have is what I want.
Okay.
Okay. And, you know, so at the end, you can see there's still things on the counter, but they're things that are being utilized on a daily basis.
Well, you could use the stove, you can use the counter space,
Right.
and that's important, what you just
Right.
said, is that you only keep the stuff on the counter that you're going to use
Right.
on a daily
that
basis.
you're using every day. And, you know, we cleared this space so that there was flow again because it was blocked. You know, this was a room and it was blocked. So we opened up the space. So
And I notice on top of the cabinets, you're actually using some space up there as storage.
And I think there was some before, you know, it's hard to get the angles identical, you know, because this is maybe, you know, early in the day and this is later in the day, or.
And now the woman who lived there, did she fight you on removing some of the stuff, or?
She was great to work with.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. No, she was on a mission. She really wanted it straightened out.
Now, is this a home or an apartment?
This was a home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super.
So do you want me to switch
Sure,
to
let's
the next
do another
pictures?
one.
Okay. Okay, I think we have this next set. This was actually a living room, and
Not much room to live there.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of living going on here because, you know, there was. They were stuck. There was loss. There was, you know, a death in the family, and so time kind of stopped here.
And in this home, how many people were living in this home?
This was a couple. So it was, you know, it was a challenge, and, you know, we went through everything. We tried to sort it out, make sense out of it. As you can see, we rearranged the furniture and placement of everything so that we could get some light and have some flow, to have some seating where people could actually live.
And when you have a husband and wife, do you ever get like two opinions, like the husband says keep it and the wife says get rid of it,
Yeah.
or vice versa?
Yes, and that's my job. That's my job, to
The
make sure
referee?
everybody's on the same page, because we need to be on the same team.
And so when you're working with that, you just start off like, okay, you both agree, this goes, let's get it out.
Yeah.
And then you have a pile for when he doesn't want it gone, and then when she
Well,
does.
if it's his stuff, he gets to decide generally. And if
And-
it's her stuff, she gets to
good-
decide.
good-
And then
good
when
rule.
it's
Couple
both of their
thing.
stuff, then we all have to agree, right?
Okay, yeah.
Everyone has to agree.
And did you add some artwork there, or
You know,
change some artwork?
she did start to change some of the artwork. I think, well, this is the same up here over the fireplace. I don't know if you can see that, Jay,
Yeah.
but that's still the same. But then, yeah, she did, you know, she got really excited and creative and started to move things around, you know, to fit.
It's like she came unblocked.
We really were able to open up that space for her, and her life got to flow as a result. And she had some health issues, and this was very beneficial for her. So should I move forward?
Sure, let's
Okay.
please.
So the next set of photos actually, these photos were for the CBS Early Show that we did, and
Was this a national show?
it was a national show, and we actually did several rooms, and this was their rec room, and this was a family of 7, and so there were lots of kids, and there was lots of commotion that went on in the basement, and so we went through everything. We made sense out of it.
Well, let me ask you this. So
Okay.
you have kids there. What age do you start teaching children to organize?
Yeah, I think kids just crave order, and I think you can start at a very early age. And we've worked with kids as clients, in their
And did you work with the kids that were involved in this one?
In this particular circumstance, we did not. We worked with the mom and did the entire project with the mom. I believe we did do a little bit of the project with one of the kids in one of the room, which was her room. But other than that, we did not. But we would. We just didn't at this time because there was filming and it was not really conducive for the
in
kids.
the picture at the right, it looks like you added some boxes.
Well, we actually found the doors and put the doors back up, and we got a cabinet to contain some of the items in the center. And you can see we kind of reconfigured the room. We eliminated some pieces that just didn't make sense, and we relocated others. So we made sense out of the chaos, and
You couldn't even walk down the center of the room.
No, the kids really couldn't play. And, it made such a difference. I'll tell you, for this woman, she used to spend 2 days every week trying to keep things in order, with 7 people in the home. And once we got done organizing her, she was able to keep things in place in 1 hour in the basement. In 1 hour.
That's amazing. We're almost out of time, so
Okay.
we better do
Okay.
the 11 tips
Okay.
if you want.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think we'll be
Okay.
able to get through all 11, but feel free to
Okay.
pick and choose what you think is best for our audience.
Okay, great.
And if the audience doesn't get all 11 tips, they can go to your website.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's lots more tips than this, but this is 11 reasons that you don't need it. Okay, so if you haven't used it in a year or more, you probably don't need it. If you've outgrown it, it's probably a sure sign you don't need it. You're no longer interested in it. Your kids don't play with it anymore. You forgot you had it. You seldom think of it or reference it. You don't like it anymore or never liked it. It has no purpose. It takes up more space than you have available. You're paying rent to store it, but don't use it. Or it brings you negative energy. So those are the tips, and there's a little bit more information
All right,
on the
we got.
blog
I'm
post.
sorry,
Okay.
Jane, but we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
For more information about Jane, our clutter coach, Infinity Foundation, and her quest, stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune. Thank you so much.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-831-8828.